Hey everyone, and welcome back to the ATD Movie Channel. I'm Tony, and today I'll be reviewing Deadpool 2, the sequel to the insanely successful first film. Let's jump right into it. Alright guys, so I waited a few days after some busy projects at work to finally catch up and watch Deadpool 2, and I absolutely loved this movie. Now, backing up, I absolutely loved the first film. I didn't have the YouTube channel up yet when the first one came out, but I've been a big fan of Ryan Reynolds all the way back since his TV days on Two Guys and a Girl. At the beginning of that show, it was called Two Guys and a Girl in a Pizza Place. But nonetheless, Ryan Reynolds is just the perfect choice to play this character, and he's back with a sequel that's bigger and better than the first. I'll obviously jump into the reviews like I do with every other movie, is tell you a little bit about what I liked about the movie and what I might or might not have liked about the movie, and that's foreshadowing. So the thing that I really liked about this film, the sequel, is that it had everything that made the first movie so great. And let me start with basically Ryan Reynolds and the cast. So Ryan Reynolds was born to play this movie, this role. I think he is the perfect Wade Wilson. He's funny and he's charming and he's quick and witty. I mean, all the things that we know about Ryan Reynolds, the actor and the comedian, play perfectly into this character. He has a comedic timing that cannot be ignored. He's just so good at what he does. And this movie just brings about the best aspects of his acting abilities. I think he's a great actor in general. And even everything that he's doing that's non-Deadpool related is really good and funny, in my opinion. So I think the raunchy comedy that plays into the R rating is good. It fits the universe that's being built. So none of it is tasteless in the sense that it's there just to shock and awe. It's there because it fits within the universe that they've created. He's in almost every single scene of the movie, and I think he carries it very, very well. Kudos to Ryan Reynolds. I just think he's so great in this. One of the other aspects that made the film, the first one, so good was the Easter eggs and references, and this movie has a plethora of Easter eggs and references. I mean, so much so that it ranges in such a wide gamut, everything from other Ryan Reynolds movies to the X-Men universe of films from Fox to comic book references to pop culture to music to different bands. I mean, it's got everything in this. There's even hidden cameos. I'm going to be honest, I didn't even catch some of the cameos until I came home and watched some YouTube videos, but there is a big cameo that I caught that I don't think a lot of the audience did, but there's a ton, and I'm not going to spoil them here. But my point of this is that these references and Easter eggs are a part of the Deadpool charm and what makes it so different from other superhero movies. Other superhero movies bury Easter eggs that are related to the comic book source, the source in which they're created from. But rarely do we get a movie like Deadpool or Deadpool 2 that pulls pop culture references or even is so self-aware and breaks the fourth wall that Ryan Reynolds in the Deadpool character is talking to Ryan Reynolds, the actor, through the camera. I mean, you just don't see that, and you don't see it done as well as it's done here. And kudos to the filmmakers and the writers. They're back from the first film to make this as good as it is. So again, the Easter eggs and references. I mentioned earlier that Ryan Reynolds is just part of a great cast, and it's true. This cast is great, and it brings in Josh Brolin as Cable. From the first movie, in the post-credit sequences, they announced that Cable's going to be in it, and they could have changed their mind and not included Cable in this movie, but they didn't. So Josh Brolin was cast, and the funny part about it is that he was also cast as Thanos in the Avengers movie, and there's a little joke and a crack at Josh Brolin in the film that references his casting as Thanos, but he's great, and I think he has an intimidating presence that demands our attention, and I think the writers did a great job at writing the character's backstory and giving him a reason to even be in the film. I thought it was tastefully done, and I thought it wasn't crammed down our throat. It was done in a way that made sense, and it basically just kind of meshed with everything else that was going on in the movie. Zazie Beetz was cast as Domino, and she is, I don't want to call her Deadpool's sidekick, but she is a part of a band of misfits that you see in the trailer. I'm not spoiling anything, called X-Force. and she's great. I didn't know anything about Zazie Beetz. I don't know her from anything before Deadpool 2. And I firmly believe that she was a perfect casting choice. She's funny and she's entertaining. She's charming. She can pull off the action sequences. She's got the physicality to do so. And I think she matches up really nicely with Ryan Reynolds. And if you remember, there was rumors of reshoots, and everybody was up in arms about, well, the movie's not going to be very good, and that's why there's reshoots. Well, it turned out that wasn't the case. The focus group that watched Deadpool 2 really liked what they saw with Cable and Domino, and they wanted more of it. And I think that the movie was smart enough, or the filmmakers were smart enough, to go back and shoot some additional scenes with the two characters, and I think they pull it off. Domino's a fantastic character and a really nice addition to this universe. And lastly is Julian Dennison, who plays Russell in the film. Now, Russell is the young child who's basically at the center of the entire film and the entire plot, and he does a great job. The character has a New Zealand accent, and he just is such an integral part of the plot. I don't want to spoil it here, but essentially, Cable's out to get this child, and Deadpool is going to do whatever he can to stop him. And I felt like it could have been a very disingenuous plot point or a plot line, and it didn't feel like that. It felt genuine, and you have to watch the movie for anything I'm saying right now to make sense, but essentially the way that the movie plays out from first act to the second act to the third act meshes really, really well, and this character of Russell, it just works perfectly. And I think the actor Julian Dennison did a great job with a role that held a lot of weight in this film and in this universe, so kudos to him. One of the things that I remember reading about when the first Deadpool film was made, now remember, that was a huge gamble for Fox. They didn't know it was going to make as much money as it did. It's now, domestically the number 2 highest grossing rated R film in history, and they even reference it in the movie. I think it's number 1 worldwide, but number 2 domestic, behind The Passion of the Christ. One of the things that made it so great was they were very creative in the way that they used their budget. We all knew that it wasn't going to be a huge budget because it was a huge gamble for Fox, and one of the things that made the first one memorable was its action. And I love the action in this movie. It's heightened, and I want to be very clear. It's bigger and it's better, but it's not bigger and better just for the sake of spending more money. I firmly believe that the way they shot the action sequences and the environments in which they chose to shoot the action sequences brought a heightened level of excitement to the franchise that we didn't get in the first one. And I never felt shortchanged in the first one in terms of action. This one really cranks it up a notch. And there are some scenes that are gruesome, and that might turn some people off, but it's gruesome and it's funny. So it fits perfectly with who this character is and the kind of things that he would do. And there's a lot of CGI in it, but it's good. It's really good CGI that meshes well with practical effects. I think I could tell pretty easily where they really flipped a car versus running into CGI cars and watching them, flip 30 times in the middle of the street. I thought they did a great job, and there's 2 sequences in particular that I want to point out. The skydiving sequence, which is highlighted in the trailer, is really good, but also there's another action sequence with a convoy that Deadpool and Domino have to intersect that I think is spectacular. So kudos to the filmmakers on upping the ante in terms of action. And I normally go to things I didn't like about a movie, but I'm not going to do that here because I really enjoyed this film. There wasn't much I didn't like. I'm going to tell you something that would have normally annoyed me, or something I would have normally not liked about a film, but it works here, and it's the cheap writing. So Deadpool breaks the fourth wall, and he cracks jokes, and he tells jokes at the expense of the writing. And I'll give a couple of examples, but in other films, it would have been horrible. It would ruin the movie. But in this, it's just another funny joke that Deadpool tells. And there's a couple of examples, small and big, of cheap writing. A small example is that Cable makes it known that he only has one more time jump available to him to go back to where he came from. And Deadpool breaks the fourth wall and says to the camera, wow, that's really cheap writing that he only has one more time jump. And it's true, right? That's a cheap way to up the ante or, raise the stakes. But it works. And then there's some bigger stuff in the first act that I'm not going to spoil here, but there's things that happen in the first act that are truly cheap writing techniques to get the story rolling. I would have been furious in a different movie, but here it works, and there's retconning that works, and there's things there's mechanical ways of telling the story that I would have not liked anywhere else. But again, for repeating myself vigorously here, it's really good and it works. That is something that would have bugged me somewhere else, but they pull it off. So in conclusion, I will tell you that this franchise is defying the superhero genre, and it's trying things that people never imagined and never thought could have been pulled off in a big budget superhero franchise like this one. I'm loving it, you guys. This is a great sequel to a great movie, and hopefully the franchise continues on for at least a couple more movies, because this is a special franchise. And I do firmly believe that as we continue this superhero genre and it continues to evolve, these Deadpool movies are going to stand out, and they're going to stand the test of time because they're so different than everything else. So, have you seen Deadpool 2? And what did you think of the first one? Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed the video, give me a thumbs up. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel to be notified of content uploaded regularly. You can find other movie reviews on the channel as well. Thanks for watching my review for Deadpool 2. I'll talk to you soon.